Hi guys, it's me. I'm doing the video today, but I need a few things. Deck chair. I need a table. Excellent. I need a drink. Got the drink. Wouldn't it be nice if I was on a beach though?
Oh, there's a storybook. Let me read you a story. The Fisherman's Tale. The fire was warm. Ooh, that is warm. At the end of his beard, and the edge of the sandals were just about dry. His belly was full, the taste of fish lingered in his mouth, and his moustache clung to a crusty bit of bread. He just had a big catch. His friends sat all around him. He should have been happy, but he wasn't. His best friend of all was there, you see. The one that had died and come back to life again. The one that had abandoned and he'd denied. And there he is. There had been a fire then as well, and a cold night and a silent moon, a really quiet moon. And the place of the comrades who chattered around him sat, strangers and enemies. Peter remembered it well, too well. It weighed heavy on his heart. His heart was racing in his hands and his hands were shaking. He was really, really afraid. 3 times he was asked if he was one of Jesus' followers. And 3 times he denied knowing this man who died on the cross. And then he heard it, the rooster crowing, cock-a-doodle-doo, and the shame and the sadness filled his heart. And then he remembered Jesus' words, before the night is through, before the cock crows, to the coming dawn you will deny you ever knew me. A chuck of wet sand caked to the side of his leg and dried through just enough to fall off. But then it left behind a filmy, sandy residue that irritated him until he brushed it away and got rid of it. And Peter couldn't help thinking that it was just like his guilt. And this is why the man with a belly full and warm feet, one amazing resurrected friend, wasn't very happy. There was someone he something he needed to do, something he couldn't bring himself to say. There was another reason too: fish. When they'd first met, he and Jesus, Peter, was a fisherman. But Jesus had promised to make him something different, something else, a fisher of men. More than that, Jesus had called him a rock. And Peter had found the confidence to stand up and say what all the disciples had been thinking, that Jesus was the Messiah. He received the Master's praise and insight. But where was Peter now? He was sitting on the sand, a bit like the beach that I'm sitting on the side of Lake Galilee. That's where he was, back where he started, doing his old job. Fishing for fish, smelly fish. But what else was he fit for? What good was a rock that had turned to sand at the first whiff of danger? A gull cried, and a fire popped, then belched out a puff of smoke. Jesus watched the smoke melt into the air. Then he turned to Peter and said, "Simon, son of John, do you love me more than these?" Surprised, Peter had to stop and think. Do I love him more than these? These what? These disciples? Well, of course I do. Didn't I say that once? Even the other followers left him. I would remain. And then Peter remembered. He hung his head in shame and ran and hid like everyone else, and worse. Afraid of Jesus' response, Peter said, both as quietly and as firmly as he could, "Yes, Lord, you know that I love you." Jesus looked at Peter's face. "Then feed my lambs," he said. This wasn't what Peter expected. He thought he'd tell him off, call him a no-good liar or a coward or a phony. Peter couldn't understand that. It was the least he deserved. Then it dawned on him, perhaps, when Jesus said, "Do you love me more than these?" perhaps he meant the fish. Or do you really want to go back being a fisher of fish, or do you want to carry on working for me? Peter was going to ask. Then Jesus said, "Simon, son of John, do you love me?" And "Yes, Lord, I love you," replied Peter. "Then feed my sheep," Jesus replied. That's it, thought Peter. He doesn't want me back. He still wants me to be a fisher of men. He still believes I can be a rock. And now he wants me to be a shepherd as well, to take care of his followers. He wants me back. He thinks I can do it. Everything is all right again. Peter was just about to jump to his feet and throw his net on the fire. Jesus leaned forward and asked, "Do you love me?" What was the point in saying it a third time, Peter thought. Peter leaned backwards and sighed. Tears prickled his eyes as slowly dawned on him. Yes, Jesus was giving him his job back, but much more than that. He was giving him a chance to make up for those 3 times, a chance to say that what he should have said that night, a chance to speak the truth from his heart and deal with it once and for all. Peter wiped the tears away with the back of his hand. Then he looked Jesus right in the eye and said, "Lord, you know everything. You know I love you. Then feed my sheep," Jesus said softly. And the fire was warm and his belly was full. He was surrounded by his friends. And now, for the first time in a long time, Peter was happy. Not only because his friend was alive again, but also something had come back to life inside him as well. Well, I'm going to enjoy my beach. I'll see you again soon.